Hello Indie Game fan, today is my birthday and as is tradition for the third year running, here are upcoming pixel art games excluding titles like Chained Echoes since that is releasing very soon, so the main list begins with Lords of Exile, a long in development action platformer that was slated for release in 2022 but it got pushed, where things are not looking too good since we don't have updates from the developer, but as far as I know, this is still in development. It's a classic Vania action platformer that has more in common with the earlier Castlevania games rather than the games that have come after Symphony of the Night, where the developer absolutely nailed the throwback look. Speaking of throwback, Beloved Rapture is a SNES-style JRPG that has some great sprites, adding in some modern tweaks that makes it appeal to today's gaming audience. It is a coming-of-age story where a protagonist must deal with the return of his long-absent father, but the activities of an evil cult are threatening the world as well. It is supposed to be narrative heavy with a tighter design, making it a mid-sized entry that you might actually complete. I'm a big fan of Brazilian developer Joy Masher since they have made some of my favourite titles including Blazing Chrome, Oniken and Odella's The Dark Call, where their retro pixel art streak continues with Vengeful Guardian Moonrider. This is an action platformer that, like Blazing Chrome, looks like it belongs on the Genesis, having a fantastic 16-bit look. You play as a super soldier ninja warrior created by a totalitarian government to preserve and protect it, but upon gaining consciousness, decided to fight against your programming and to seek vengeance against your creators. The fast-paced action looks awesome and is in line with the games of that era, but I do wonder how they will tune the difficulty of this game. The long-in-development adventure game A Space for the Unbound finally got a confirmed release date, where we found out after the fact that the delay was primarily because of a contract dispute with their previous publisher, but the developers went public on Twitter to get this resolved. It seems like all of that is behind them now, which is why they could announce the date, which is very soon, where this is set in rural Indonesia in the late 1990s and is from an Indonesian developer as well. It has a slice-of-life setup with some supernatural elements, reminding me of the fantastic Japanese animated movie Weathering with You, so let's see when this releases in January. The cinematic platformer is a lost art at this point, where people simply don't make games like the original Prince of Persia, Flashback or Another World anymore, with LUNARK being of interest because of that. It is a puzzle action platformer with more realistic looking animations, with a sci-fi slant as our hero takes on a totalitarian regime. It looks awesome, with the latest news being that they signed with publisher WayForward and will be releasing on all modern platforms, where I'm fairly certain that this is a 2023 release, but don't quote me on that. I like the look of Nova Lands since it has very clean pixel art, not the most visually complex or high-bit, but it simply works, being an action-adventure factory building title that looks great. It appears to be similar to Crashlands, but adds in the automation aspect of something like Factorial, even having combat against giant enemies, looking to be another hit in the space. Another title that seems to have become somewhat stuck in development is Bushiden, a gorgeous pixel art action platformer that has shown up many times on the channel, where I don't know what is going on with this game since it still has a 2022 release window, but does have no news or updates. However, the pixel art in this is gorgeous, with some awesome combat animations and boss designs, so I'm guessing that it will finally release next year and we will get to feast our eyes. A great looking
Farm Simulation RPG
is Chef RPG. Not the most creative of names, but this game has you managing your own restaurants, hunting, foraging and fishing in order to get the freshest ingredients. You're able to customize your restaurant and have to run it in real time in an almost Diner Dash-like fashion, looking to be an alternative take on this genre. I like the look here, reminding me of Stardew Valley, where the animated character portraits and delicious looking food are worth a mention, but the character faces in the overworld do look kind of weird. An awesome roguelite party-based RPG with a classic look is Escape the Mad Empire, one where you're leading a band of heroes as you delve into dungeons, exploring the apocalypses caused by said empire. If you were unable to tell from the footage, combat in this is real-time with pause, which means it's kind of like a classic computer RPG or CRPG, but framed as a roguelite, which makes it rather unique. The closest equivalent that I can think of is Heroes of Hammerwatch, but that is more of an action roguelite, making this very interesting indeed. I absolutely love the look of Seablip, another
Farm Simulation RPG,
but this time from a side-scrolling perspective. It is of course focused more on naval warfare and exploration, where you can choose the life of a pirate, sailing about and exploring the world, with activities like fishing, farming and even a mystery surrounding the melting polar ice. The clouds and skyscapes are what really got my attention here, also impressing me with the intricately detailed buildings looking to have great potential as well. A very well done pixel art deck building roguelike is Dungeon Drafters, reminding me of something like Crypt of the Necrodancer, but where the main inspiration is the Mystery Dungeon series. The spells that you can cast look fun, with each ability having great art as well, and we are probably due for some good old classic turn-based roguelike action as compared to the hundreds of Vampire Survivors clones, making this one of interest. Another awesome looking title is Sons of Valhalla, a side-scrolling action strategy title that looks similar to games like Kingdom, but where you appear to be more directly involved in the combat. You play as a Viking warrior setting off to England in pursuit of the love of his life, who was captured by another Viking Jarl, where you must lead your men, build longships and conquer enemy settlements in order to do so, but the sheer detail in the pixel art got my attention. Good news everyone, I have some information to share on Gestalt, Steam and Cinder, last seen in my video on upcoming Metroidvania games, where after that video went live, we got news that Gerard the Completionist, Jesse Cox and Dodger, the latter two of which were Total Biscuit's co-hosts on the Co-Optional podcast, are now helping to produce the game, so hopefully that means that their planned release in 2023 will be met. This is a very pretty steampunk pixel art entry with some fantastic and very detailed backgrounds, certainly being one to watch. A very pretty pixel art
Farm Simulation RPG.
with a twist is Moonstone Island, where you're spending a year away from home as part of your alchemy training, moving to the titular island and refining your knowledge. However, in addition to the farming elements, there's also action-adventure style exploration and even monster taming turn-based deck-building combat, looking to mash together plenty of ideas from different genres, which I hope will work well together. The farming portion, however, does look very classic, where you can build sprinklers as well, with some of the most adorable pixel art that I have come across. The Last Night is the sole representative of the long-in-development games that may be in some sort of development hell, but this was revealed way back in 2017, where they were supposed to share more news about the game this year but have been quiet so far. It has quite an interesting cyberpunk setting, where you play as a lower-class man in a world where all the menial work has been taken over by machines and computers, looking to be an intriguing setting, so subscribe to the channel and I'll let you know when there is news. I have to give a special mention to Vikings on Trampolines, the next title from the developers of Our Boy, D-Pad Studio, who again are known for their pixel art, perhaps even coining the term high-bit pixel art on the blog post way back when. Interestingly, this is a multiplayer party brawler title where you play as Vikings on trampolines in a variety of situations, with combat that personifies the word chaos, and does have both co-op and competitive modes as well. I like how different this is from a typical 2D platformer, so hopefully the gameplay portion holds up as compared to its pixel art. A title that I forgot about in my list of upcoming Metroidvanias is 9 Years of Shadows, since I had it in my mind and penciled in a 2022 release date, which it did originally have, since it was supposed to launch in October and then got delayed to November and now got pushed to 2023 as well. We do have to wait a little bit longer, but I'm very excited for this since the pixel art is on point. Combat looks fun and you have 3 elemental armors to change things up, with some very impressive looking bosses as well. Developer Taco Boy Studios is known for their pixel art, which is why their latest title, Cross Blitz, is of interest, a turn-based card battler that is a very nice change from the Slay the Spire style roguelite deck builder, having some very impressive art on the cards and characters. You're exploring an island with the different heroes, each having a unique single-player campaign and story, and with 5 factions and their cards to choose from, has plenty to love if you enjoy card games. The pixel art in the overworld map is also beautiful, earning a spot in the top 10. Another long in development title that I've been looking forward to is Windrunners, a side-scrolling aerial combat title where you play as rebels fighting against a tyrannical empire with your superior aerial skills. It looks like Love Rousers but on a grander scale, with intense dogfights and even giant mechanical bosses to battle, all with a look and theme that seems very anime. Developer Ludic Studios did release the awesome Akane in 2018, where they took on some contract work to make Kate Collateral Damage, which was based on the Netflix movie of the same name, releasing that in 2021, but are now back to working on this game, so hopefully we will get to play and to admire the gorgeous pixel art soon. Of course, Mina the Hollower has to be mentioned, coming to us from the developer of Shovel Knight, where they have turned their attention to the top-down action-adventure genre rather than the side-scrolling platformer. Our heroine is on a mission to save a cursed island, having to fight all sorts of monsters and ghouls in a somewhat Castlevania-like environment where they have retained the 8-bit look, where if Shovel Knight is anything to go by, this should be excellent as well. Surprise! I bet that most of you were not aware of Wandering Sword, a pixel art RPG that sure looks similar to Octopath Traveler, but with a distinctly Chinese theme and setting. It is a Chinese martial arts or wuxia focused title, where our protagonist is a young swordsman caught up in a feud, having to find allies, forge alliances, and to protect the weak, or on your path to become a legendary master. Most interestingly, the developers talk about 2 modes of gameplay, classic tactical turn-based combat or a real-time option, so it's interesting that they're going to give both options, although that may erode the game's identity. However, this Chinese martial arts setting is not commonly seen in games outside of China, so it might be of interest purely because of that. The one representative from bigger games on the list is Metal Slug Tactics, a title that just made me grin ear to ear when it was revealed, since it marks the return of the IP in a whole new genre. The run-and-gun arcade classic Metal Slug games are awesome, having pixel art that still holds up to this day, where this game keeps up that tradition but takes it into the isometric plane. It does feature many returning characters and enemies, and even the iconic Metal Slug tank, along with all those classic sound effects, where apparently there are roguelite elements in this as well. This is under the management of publisher .emu, who have done fantastic work with old IPs, with games like Streets of Rage 4 and Windjammers 2, so I have trust that this will be great. Fans of the channel will be familiar with Sea of Stars, since this is one JRPG title that I'm very excited about, coming to us from the developer of The Messenger, and is also somehow set in the same universe. The developers have been very busy with updates, but we have this brand new trailer to look at as well, showing off more of the combat. Of course, comparisons will be drawn to Chrono Trigger, which is fair, but the pixel art in this is next level as well. You have to combine the power of Sun and Moon in order to use Eclipse magic to fight against an evil entity known as the Flashmancer, where this was originally scheduled for release this year but got pushed, but given how things are going, I'm fairly certain that the 2023 target will be met. I've been so very excited for Replaced ever since it was announced, where this has some of the most amazing pixel art, where you play as an artificial intelligence unwillingly trapped in a human body. Like LUNARK, this does have elements of a cinematic platformer, and cinematic it is, with some really beautiful shot compositions shown off in this trailer. The combat, however, does appear to be the highlight, looking absolutely brutal, where I do want to shout out the lighting as well, which makes this look absolutely gorgeous. Of course, this Bloodborne-like gothic horror Metroidvania is worth another mention, where The Last Faith is one of my most anticipated games. If you want to know the details on this, watch this video on upcoming Metroidvanias.